in financial wisdom is at it again. CNN Money, thank you for your insights. Really sad. Freaking liberals. The American dream is impossible to achieve in this country. This is the title of the article. Or so say nearly 6 in 10 people who responded to CNN's Money's American Dream poll conducted. They feel the dream, however they define it, is out of reach. Of course, the question was asked, you do think that the American dream's out of reach, don't you? And that was their statistical analysis, I'm sure. But anyway, young adults age 18 to 34 are most likely to feel the dream is unattainable, with 63% saying it's impossible. This group has suffered in the wake of the Great Recession, finding it hard to get good jobs. Younger Americans are a cause of great concern. Many respondents said they worried about the next generation's ability to prosper. I thought they were the next generation. Some 63% of all Americans said most children in the U.S. won't be better off than their parents. This dour view comes despite most respondents, 54%, feeling they are better off than their parents. But we won't be for long. It's going to suck really soon. The vast majority of Americans have higher incomes than their parents, but that's in part because most families have 2 earners now. Only half have more wealth. Meanwhile, the savings rate is low and unemployment is high. College costs are rising faster than inflation and student loan debt is exploding. Perceptions, however, aren't supported by the facts, the experts say. The American dream is not dead, said Ron Haskins, co-director of the Brookings Center on Children and Families. 2 landmark studies released earlier this year concluded that mobility is worse in the U.S. than many other developed countries, but it has not changed significantly over time. Researchers found significant differences in mobility across the nation. Those who live in areas with higher economic growth and better schools have a greater chance to climb the economic ladder. Oh, let me repeat that because that was insightful. Those who live in areas with higher economic growth and better schools have a greater chance to climb the economic ladder. You're kidding. You mean if the economy's booming, you can do better? God, you guys are good. Where do you come up with this stuff? Those who live in areas with higher economic growth and better schools have a greater chance to climb the economic ladder. The studies have also found that areas with large... oh my God, I can't believe they're saying this stuff. The studies have also found that areas with large African-American populations, such as the South, have lower rates of mobility for all residents. Mobility is an issue, but it hasn't gotten worse. All right, so let's define what the American dream is. See, here's the problem. You've got a generation that doesn't believe it's attainable, but what they didn't study and what they didn't ask was, what is the American dream? Because if you don't know what it is, how would you know if it's not attainable? See, I thought maybe home ownership was the American dream. I've heard that one. Maybe owning your own business. I've heard that as being the great American dream. I've heard that one, haven't you? Retiring with dignity. That would be a good one, but I've never heard that described as the great American dream. So what is the great American dream, and why is it out of reach? Why is it out of reach? Because we live in the most technologically savvy and time in human history. People can do more faster and more efficiently now than they've ever been able to do in the history of the world. You can pick up a little piece of plastic out of your back pocket with a glass face on it and talk to anyone in the world by text, phone, Twitter, Facebook. You can check the weather. You can sell products. You can give advice and services. You can watch the Dave Ramsey show on this little stinking piece of plastic with a glass face in your back pocket. Hey, when I started in business, 4 years after I got out of college and started in business, I was in the real estate business, and I got a cell phone. I got the 911th cell phone in our town. You know how I know that? Nashville had about 1 million people at that time. I got the 900th phone because my phone number was 0911. What a great phone number. 9430911. I wonder who has that now. Bless their heart. But let me tell you about that phone. I paid $2,700 for it. It had a thing the size of a suitcase in my trunk. It had an antenna on top of the car that looked like a dadgum whiplash thing. And it was connected to my car with a wire called a phone cord. And I made money in the real estate business because I had that phone in my car. More than it cost. Oh, did I mention it was like $3 a minute? Made long distance look cheap. Y'all remember long distance? That was a long time ago. Hardly anybody pays long distance anymore. Any of you old enough to remember your grandparents having to get off the phone while talking to your parents because they would run up the long distance bill? How long has it been since you thought of that? And yet the great American dream is not attainable anymore because now you can buy a smartphone for pennies, or they'll give it to you to sign a contract with them. They will do 1,000 times more than the suitcase in the back of my old car to make your business and opportunities more efficient. Oh, and you don't have long distance. Oh, and your rate plan? Data rate's all you got to worry about because your texting is 10 times more than your stupid phone calls. I mean, how long has it been since you actually made a phone call on your phone? Most people take more pictures with their phone than they do talk on it. This is the world we live in. Now, what am I pointing out? I'm pointing out this is the best time in the history of man to go live the great American dream. You've got every possible thing that's free out there to use, from Craigslist to YouTube to Twitter to Facebook to Pinterest. It's all freaking free for the taking. All you got to do is go out there and use it to make money with. The great American dream, the pursuit of happiness. The problem is not that the great American dream is out of reach. The problem is we've raised a whole generation, and a large portion of them, God help us, think the government is in charge of their happiness and is going to bring their success to them. And when interviewed by CNN, they discovered this. The great American dream's not out of reach. It's more in reach than it's ever been. You can define it however you want to define it. The only problem? Stinking entitlement. That's the only problem. This is the Dave Ramsey Show.